about African Americans in Seattle. African Americans struggling to find work, underemployed and unemployed, trying to raise their families, and struggling because too little is being done to get them working again, to help them be able to have the money to raise their families like every other community. We've got to do more to help our people. We've got to do more to help African Americans. We've got to do more. In March of 2013, I walked into the Starbucks on 23rd and Jackson thinking I'd just be there for 10 minutes. Instead, I had an experience, a vision. I saw the faces of African Americans in pain, looking for work, struggling to be able to take care of their family, wondering why the jobs weren't there. I saw the faces of those who were doing whatever it takes to make it. And I said to myself, I feel a power encouraging me to do something to make a difference. I could hear a voice saying, you've got to do something. Leaders like me, Pastor Joe Carter, and Dr. Valerie Hunt, and others with the United Black Christian Clergy have been meeting to begin to do something massive, something on a grand scale, to get our people working again, to get our businesses contracts and jobs. That is what this conference is about. From an experience in a Starbucks to many different hearts and minds coming together to get African Americans the economic development that we need. We're here in this conference to go after contracts and jobs for our people.
A report just came out that makes really clear that African Americans are the only group that have lost income in the last 8 years, and yet nothing is being done in a big way to address that. You and I both know so many people that are out of work, underemployed, and there's nothing big being done to address that. It's high time that we break out of becoming the last, or break out of being the last hired, first fired, the last, the least, the lost, the left out, and the locked up.
Dig deep into America's $17 trillion economy, and you'll find fractures beneath the surface. The spoils are split unevenly between men and women, old and young, high school dropouts, and MBAs. But one of the most divisive disparities is only skin deep. This is the economy in black and white. Everything you own, houses, stocks, cars, that's your wealth. In 2011, the wealth of the median white household was over $110,000. African Americans on average, 17 times less, just over $6,000. And housing has a lot to do with it. For the average American, their home is the most valuable part of their portfolio. It's an investment that can appreciate with time, and it can be passed from one generation to the next. But the rate of homeownership among whites is 28% higher than that of blacks, and the lingering effects of segregation could be to blame. Discriminatory practices by the Federal Housing Authority prevented African Americans from buying houses in many suburban neighborhoods. The Fair Housing Act of 1968 sought to level the playing field. But by then, African Americans were entering a housing market that had already seen massive appreciation. Meanwhile, white families had seen their housing investment soar in value during their head start. Fast forward to the 21st century, minority groups were again victims of housing exploitation, this time by big banks. Bank of America and Wells Fargo, among others, were compelled to pay hundreds of millions of dollars in fines and restitution for pushing minorities into exploitative subprime mortgages and charging them higher rates and fees. This contributed to the fact that blacks and Hispanics lost nearly a quarter of their wealth between 2004 and 2010. Whites lost just 1% during that same period. So the American economy houses two realities, one black, one white. The divide between them, a measure of inequality.
Something needs to be done in a big way to help African Americans in Greater Seattle, and to take it as far as we can to help them get jobs and contracts, because nobody's addressing it. Not enough black leaders, not enough at the city, county, state level, not even Barack Obama's doing enough. And so we've got to take it upon ourselves to do it. We got to do something really big. We've got to do something comprehensive. We've got to do something that's going to bring jobs in a big way. That's why we're doing this conference. We're doing this conference so that people in the government will know at all levels that we intend to bring in millions of dollars in contracts and jobs, so our family won't be underemployed and unemployed without something done to address their bad situation. But the jobs will be there. This conference is being done so that your friends, just like my friends, will have the economic opportunities that they deserve. We are putting a model together to get that money, to get these contracts. It may look a little strange how we're doing it, with dinners and speakers and all, but at the end of the day, it's about contracts and jobs. It's about bringing economic development. We need your help. We're glad you're supporting us. Let's work together to go and get the equal opportunity that our people need so that they can eat, live, and so they can take care of their children like everyone else.